Students, today is Monday, February 15th, and our first task of the day is going to be the math retrieval practice. So we're going to go to the screen that I'm showing on the video right now, and you're going to click on retrieval practice link. So you click right there, and then you're going to click on the website, and it's going to take you here to math retrieval 21521. Make sure to put your first and your last name. Click on the circle beside your teacher's name, beside your homeroom teacher's name. And we got some questions here. Some are not going to be related to math. Just answer as best that you can. So what do you know how to do that you can teach others? Just keep it pretty short and brief. And the next one, a movie began at 3:15 p.m. It was 2 hours and 40 minutes long. What time did the movie finish? So you're going to need to do some calculations on here. You can use your notebook to do your calculations in before you select what you believe is the correct choice. The next one is a multiplication problem. What is 11 times 7? So use the strategies that we have learned to solve this right here. Do not use a calculator. And lastly, if you could be a sound, what would it be? Just type a little short answer in there, and once you finish, go ahead and click submit. So once you finish answering all of these, go ahead and click submit. Should not take very long to do this. So you finished with the retrieval document for today, and we're going to move on with lesson number 10. We're continuing with our fractions. Today is keep on comparing fractions, lesson 10. And remember, as we go along, you can pause this video as often as you'd like to work on the problems as we go along. And as we go on in our slideshow, this is our multiplication table I have here as a resource for you to use whenever you need to use it. And after that, I've got a couple of slides where, of course, this is where if you're working in your math binder or if you're working in your notebook, solving problems in your notebook, this is where you can take pictures. You take pictures of your work in that binder or your notebook and insert a picture of it into one of these slides so that your teacher can see your work. Our learning target for today. First one, I will expand my thinking of fractions by comparing fractions using different strategies, and I will create visual models and written explanations to explain my thinking. Our central questions for this entire unit, guys, has remained the same. We're just continuing to build upon it. Why might it be important to understand equivalence? And why is unit size important in mathematics? So on our next slide, we have this is our launch. This is going to be also on a Jamboard, guys. So in Google Classroom, you've already been assigned not only the slides for today, but you have also been assigned some Jamboards, and this is going to be one of them. And this one says, which strategy? So today you're going to be working, if you're in the classroom, or if you're with us live, you're going to be working in groups, but if you're working at home, you're doing this on your own. You're going to be able to just work on these independently as we go along. So, but you're going to solve one of these comparing fraction problems, and then you're going to use common denominator reasoning, area models, tape diagrams, and number lines to help you. Now, before I go to the Jamboard, I want to introduce you to a couple of tools that we have right here that can help you. When comparing fractions. Now this one is going to be a fraction tool to help you. And with this one, when you click right here on this and you click on this website, it brings you to this particular screen. Now, this is where you can build your fractions. Now, when I go back and I look at the first one, it says 2/8. We're going to compare that to 6/8. Now, remember, in the middle, in order to compare, we have to put less than, greater than, or equal to. So in order to compare them, we have to be able to put one of those. And 2/8 and 6/8. So if you're using this tool, you can build your fraction. So down here at the bottom, it's gonna start with a blank screen, but at the bottom, you're gonna click on a fraction, and it asks you how many equal parts do you want. Remember, that's going to be the denominator. So we need 8 equal parts for that. So we got 8 equal parts for that one. And again, let me go back. So 2/8 and 6/8 is what I need. And now I need to build 2/8 first. So I need to go down and pick a color. I'm just going to pick red. So I click down here on the red. Now I've got 2/8. All right. And the next fraction is 6/8. I'm comparing it to 6/8. So I need to go down here. That means I'm going to build another fraction. Okay. So it's right there. I just need to move it down. So now I need 6/8. Keep in mind that they are the same size. So now I need 6/8. So I'm going to click here on a different color, and I'm going to go to 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now I have 6/8. Okay, so I can clearly see that 2/8 is going to be smaller than 6/8. So 2/8 is going to be smaller than 6/8. So I really like this tool right here. I think it can help you. But keep in mind, when you're on that Jamboard, you're going to have to draw your own. You can come here first if you need to, but then I'll go to the actual Jamboard. So when you go to the Jamboard, we've already proven that 6/8 is less, 2/8 is less than 6/8. And we did a tape diagram to prove that. We did a tape diagram to prove that. Now, we've got it on that tape diagram right here, but in order to show your work, you're going to need to actually draw these, okay? So you're going to need to be able to draw these. And remember, you want them to be the same size. Now, there's a number line at the bottom here, too, that you could use if you wanted to. But we want to make both of these 8s. And you got 2/8. And when you're doing it by hand, it's not going to be perfect, but you're doing the best that you can with it. And so 2/8 right here. And now I need 6/8 for the bottom, but I'm going to go ahead and partition this into 4 equal parts. Now I need 6/8 on this right here. So this is a comparison. Make sure to label them also when you do that. Make sure to label them. I got 2/8 right here. I got 6/8 right here. So that's the first one. You're working them at home. I want you to choose another one to work on. This is the first one right here. There are 4 up here. This is another. This is one. This is one. And notice these here have different denominators on them, but you can still make the comparison as we practiced before. This is the first one. I'm going to go ahead and clear this out. But remember, you can go back and pause the video. Go back and rewind the video. You can pause it to get to what I just had on there. And if I look at this one, 4/10 and 4/6. All right, so I'm going to clear that out, 4/10 and 4/6. So I'm building this right here. I need 10 equal parts on that one. That's the first one, 4/10. And now I need 4 equal parts. So I click find the color. Need 4 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts. That's 4/10. And now I need 4/6. So I got to build 6. So now I got 6. See how easy that is? They're the same length. So now I got 6, and I need 4/6 on this one. 4/6. I'm choosing a different color on this one. Let's go with purple. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you got an accurate comparison. You got 4/10 and 4/6 is what we have here. Okay. And let's see. You can still label them. 4/10 for that one at the top, and 4/6 for the one at the bottom. So 4/10 and 4/6 for the one at the bottom. Now you can easily see that the 4/6 is going to be bigger. Now when you go back to your Jamboard, just make sure that, and we said that 4/6 was bigger, so make sure that the mouth of the sign has got to open up to bigger. Now remember, you still have to draw your tape diagram on here. You still have to draw your tape diagram on here. But if you're using the number line, you're going to use what we've practiced. You're still going to make, you can make 10 equal parts on this one right here. And your number line 4/10 is going to represent at 4 places. And you build you another number line, it's going to be 6 equal parts. And 4/6 is going to be at the 4th one. So it's the same, similar type comparison. And on this particular slide, guys, these are just some other strategies that you can use to solve those problems. So with the first one, the 2/8 and 6/8, you could use common denominator strategy. So what that means is that the denominators here are the same, so that now you can look at the numerators. So if the denominators are the same, you can look at the numerators. And since they're all in 8 equal parts, whichever one has the bigger number at the top is going to be the bigger fraction. So whichever number at the top that is bigger is going to be the bigger fraction. So 6 is bigger than 2. So 6 is going to be the larger fraction. This is simply because they have the same denominator, so we can compare. Now over here, you got a tape diagram, 4/10, 4/6. This is where, remember, you drawing the diagram is going to be the same length, but one of them are 10 equal parts, the second one is 6 equal parts, and you can accurately compare them by looking at them. And 2, 6, 7, 12, same thing. Tape diagram, and you're showing the equal parts on there, 12 and 6, and whichever one has the most shaded in, that's going to be the higher number. And right here you have a number line, so the number lines are going to be the same length. One of them is divided into 4 equal parts, and one of them is in 8 equal parts, and wherever you find wherever your number is, that's where the little dot is, and these are actually equivalent to each other. So on our next slide, comparing pencils. I'm going to go ahead and read it. Comparing pencils. At the beginning of the year, 2 4th grade teachers had the same amount of pencils. At the end of the year, Miss Smith had used 4/6 of her pencils. Mr. Jones had used 6/8 of his pencils. Who used more pencils throughout the year? And if we go ahead and do our cubes. All right, so we're going to go ahead and use our cubes on this. So again, at the beginning of the year, 2 4th grade, that's important to note that we're talking about is 2 4th grade teachers had the same amount. Now, same amount, that's a key term right there. The same amount of pencils. At the end of the year, Miss Smith had used 4/6 of her pencils. Mr. Jones had used 6/8 of his pencils. And our question, who used more pencils throughout the year? Some things that I want you guys to be thinking about over here on the right. What do we know about this problem? Use multiple strategies, which means the tape diagram, area model, number line to solve the problem. Be sure to write an equation to justify your response. So I want you to pause the video and using your notebook, I want you to try to use different strategies to solve this. Go back and reread it if you need. So you've had an opportunity to take a look at this and to try to work on it in your notebook. And the first question, what do we notice about this problem? We noticed first that they have the same amount of pencils. So what that means is that both sizes have the same size hole. So the holes are going to be the same. The amount of pencils for each class is going to be the same at the beginning. All right, so for these comparisons here, guys, you're going to be able to do them in your notebook or also in the Jamboard that we just worked on for our launch, but it's going to be slide number 5, and this is where I am right here. So I'm comparing the 4/6 and the 6/8. You'll notice that 6/8 looks to be slightly larger, but it's really, really close. And human error, if I didn't, someone not drawing these really, really as close to perfect as possible, you can get confused by it. Same thing here, 6/8 and 4/6 are really, really close to each other. Now, another way that you can think about these is to look at equivalent fractions. Think about equivalent fractions. So 4/6 is equivalent to 2/3, and 6/8 is equivalent to 3/4. So if you looked at them as equivalent fractions, so if you're comparing those, so if you looked at the equivalent fraction, if you're comparing these two equivalent fractions, you will see that they're both only one fraction unit away from the whole. So this is 1/3 away from the whole. This is 1/4 away from the whole. So if you think about it that way, 1/4 is going to be a smaller amount than 1/3. 1/4 is a smaller amount than 1/3. So the one that's closer to the whole is going to be 3/4. So that means that that one's going to be bigger when you look at it in terms of equivalent fractions. So your independent work is going to be on page 181, or I've also got this on a Jamboard. So page 181, and it's also in a Jamboard. This is what you're going to be working on individually. And remember, if you're working on page 181, you're going to have to take a picture of your work and insert it in the slides. But if you're doing it on the Jamboard, your teacher will be able to see your work without you having to take a picture of it. And I want you to work on that work. Now, if you're having trouble with it, there's a little help button right down here that will take you to two other help buttons that, if you're having trouble with comparing the fractions using the models, click here for a short video. If you're having trouble using benchmark fractions, you can use that one. But I want you to work on them. I want you to try them. If you are really, really having trouble, I've also included the answer key here for you. It's on the very next slide. So I've got the answer key, but I want you to work on them and I want you to try them first. Compare your answers to the answer key, but only after you've done it. And lastly, again, your independent work is going to be the Jamboard or page 181, and also want you to work on Dreambox for at least 15 minutes.